look for a long. for a long. Hey traders, Jeffrey here. Good to be back with you. Let's give it a couple minutes and see if we have a few more people jump in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Just a quick sound check. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Just give me a yes in the chat box. So I don't see any notes there. Are you guys hearing me all right? Well, let's hope so. Looks like everything is connected right on my end. Thanks, Tom. Thank you so much, Tom. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. And if anybody else jumps in at the end, they will get the recorded link, or you can always log back in and click the link and take a look at it. So we're going to go ahead and cover my parabolic price action strategy again today, show you the trades that I took based on some news events this week. There were several interesting events. And show you a little bit about how the strategy works and how you can take these trades yourself. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, all the information provided here is for educational purposes only and not an offer or a recommendation to trade futures, stocks, options, or Forex. So today we are going to cover the price action, the parabolic price action, what that looks like, why that works for Forex and commodity trades, how I set the 5-minute chart up to take these trades, the different indicators that I use when I enter, exit, and take my profits. Then we'll talk a little bit about market moving news, what we saw and we're expecting to see this week. Here are the trades that I took, let's see, Monday, Tuesday, and yesterday. Okay, we were looking at the euro pound, the dollar yen, and we also had a nice gold trade, which is nice to trade when we're looking at U.S. economic news, and I'll have a comparison of the two. And that works for those of you that are trading futures. Be careful to trade around news events as well, but there's a little bit less of the crazy volatility that you might see in some of the futures. For example, I also trade NASDAQ pretty regularly, and that can be a little wild. This week, not as much volatility and price movement as we saw last week or the week before, for example, but nevertheless, it's always good to take a look at different options. So here again is what the parabolic price action charts look like, and you know what, let me change my view here, and that way you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So parabolic movement is merely just projectile-like, so we're going to see a peak up and then a swing down, a peak down, and then a swing back up. This kind of price movement is very typical, regular, and predictable on the currency pairs, futures currency contracts, or gold and oil. Okay, if you have your chart set up, we look for features on the chart that the indicators show us so that we can take advantage of all of these trades. And as you can see, the major pairs especially, but I usually follow all 28 major and minor pairs. I don't follow the exotics or at all, and I will look at gold and oil as well. Here is how I'm setting up my chart to look for these signals. On a 5-minute chart, I'm going to switch to Heikin-Ashi candles because we follow trends very visually easily that way. And then I'm going to use the Nadaraya Watson envelope, and that is a smoothing indicator that shows a very nice statistical movement, and I believe it's based on a logarithmic scale using kernel smoothing in order to get outside bar position. And then over that, I'm going to lay over a linear regression standard deviation chart. And when I see movement outside, especially of both of these on either end, here's a perfect example right down here. When I am in line with an overbought or oversold condition and coming out of the Williams %R channel, then we have a super high probability that we're going to move at least back to the midline and frequently all the way to the next two channels and sometimes past it. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to take trades reversing off of outside bars up to the opposite end. Let's see. For my entries, as I said, I'm going to monitor the 5-minute charts for entry signals before and after news events. So I am setting my trades up knowing when the news event is coming. I will log in sometimes 15 minutes before the event, sometimes a half an hour to an hour before if it's a particularly market moving event or I happen to be in front of the monitor anyway. And I'm going to be looking for movements before, sometimes for trades that will play out in advance of the event or just after the event for the next 1 or 2 hours. Sometimes we'll see a big movement up to the event and then a reversal right after. So you can easily take a long and a short sometimes on a particular news event that comes out. I am looking for what I call an outside bar and this signal, okay? This little signal off of the Nadaraya-Watson envelope, which by the way is a free indicator that's available on any of the platforms. You can set up your charts just like this, and everybody that is in my private group, you get access to my Google Drive so that you don't even need to hunt around for it. You can download the indicators directly. If you're on TradingView, everything is already built into TradingView that I use. So we're looking for the outside bar signals, and when the bar body closes outside of the Nadaraya-Watson envelope, we'll get a signal as well. And in this particular case, we had another candle that came pretty close to giving a signal. Sometimes you'll have 2 or 3 before we start to see a reversal. And I am waiting for the reversal candle. In this case, if I'm looking to go long, I have my long signal here. Then, that's basically a get ready and keep looking for the trade. So I'll keep my eye on this chart as the news event is coming out. And when we get a close or a movement on the opposite side of this linear regression moving average, that's my clue to enter, okay? It is not unusual for these candles to continue down in the existing trend. Sometimes we get a reversal and a movement back down, so you do have to be careful. We want to make sure our stop is on the opposite end of any supply or demand zones or behind a recent swing high or low. Based on experience, usually if there are 2 supply or demand zones below, I'll always go for the second one, and that's pretty safe. I like to keep a fairly tight stop on these news event trades, and if I get stopped out, I'll keep watching. If that candle then reverses, I easily might get right back in and then certainly make up for the small tight stop with a successful trade. My first target is usually going to be right around the midline. And then my second target, I will look for either the next standard deviation line or the next supply or demand zone. And then a final target, if I'm taking more than two targets, I might go for 3, would be at the outside edge or even way outside of the envelope if I'm going to run a trailing stop on that final position. So this is what we were looking at going into the week. On Monday in the U.S., we had manufacturing news. On Tuesday, we had in the overnight U.S. hours, 2:30 a.m., some Swiss CPI news. I did not make any plans to trade that one. However, in the morning, we were looking at U.S. jolts. Not as big a trade for me in my experience. And then in the evening, Australian GDP. So I really didn't plan any news event trading around those. However, on Wednesday, we did have private non-farm payroll. In the morning, we traded that, as well as keeping an eye on U.S. manufacturing. But very important, we had Powell speaking at 1:45, which is a little unusual. And the market moved slow leading into that. It's not unusual coming into the end of the year, whether or not there was going to be any hint of another interest rate drop. That's why everybody held their breath in the market, and you'll see we did trade that. And coming into Thursday, unemployment claims, and then tomorrow we have the big unemployment rate report from all of November. Friday, for the first Friday of every month, is a big jobs report. So here's what we traded. On Monday, the dollar yen for the U.S. manufacturing. And then while I didn't get up in order to trade this 4:30 a.m. Euro or UK manufacturing, by 5:36 a.m., it was worth looking at the chart to see if there was follow-up news on this. And so the euro pound was a good trade afterwards. And then moving ahead to Wednesday, our non-farm payrolls in the morning, and I'm going to show you the dollar yen trade for that and the gold trade for that, both of them on this same news report. Then later in the day, the dollar yen, and then this is what's on tap for tomorrow that I will show you guys next week. So here was the trade plan. This is going to be posted daily as reminders in the Telegram private channel room for everybody that's a member, so that you can kind of get a heads up in the morning what news event might be coming up as a reminder and which trade pair that will make the most sense to look at. And so this is what we went into going into the week, just looking at it a little bit of a different way. So to get started, here was our first trade, the UK manufacturing. As I said, this one occurred actually at 4:30 in the morning, and I came in much later on. And let's see, the recording actually started after my first position filled. So let me go ahead and start that. There we go. So you can see at about 6:30 in the morning, right over here, all right, we got a signal. It was an outside bar on the envelope, not all the way outside of the channel, but certainly close enough off of the edge of this supply zone to look for a very quick move back up. So entering right over here after this candle, we had a close in an up bar, but we didn't cross the linear regression moving average. Another up bar close, still no cross. We had a close right up about here. Now, I liked this trade because we had supply zones all the way up here that I was targeting. So getting in right over here, we were looking to get at least a movement of a full standard deviation channel, and maybe even a little bit more. So let's see how it played out. As we came in, as you can see, my entries here, we took a little bit of heat, came back down close to entry, and now we are back up right around here. Closed my first position right about the inside of that channel, and that was for about 50 some odd pips. And let's see how the rest of this played out. So now I'm still in half of a position with just 50,000 currency units on the NinjaTrader platform is the same as a half of a full lot. and also not my favorite pair to trade because it has a little bit of a wide spread, but certainly nowhere near as wide as some of the Asian, South Pacific currencies, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Sometimes those spreads get pretty wide. And as we move up, you can see I am all the way up here with my target, looking to just trail this as far up as I can go. So you can see I've got my stop right behind the linear regression moving average. And every candle, I'm going to move that up as we get higher and higher and maximize my profit. So we had another candle, move that up a little bit. And now we're at about 8:15 in the morning. I remembered to put my clock there. And as you can see, I pushed that stop all the way up just inside of the linear regression moving average. And another candle. As we come up, I keep pulling that up and tighten it. You can, on NinjaTrader, you can attach your stop directly to this line, but I'm right in front of the computer, so I'm just manually moving it. That gives me the option to really tighten it up or loosen it up a little bit. So now we're starting to see a reversal, and we certainly might get stopped out, and then we'll get our total there. Okay, so we're out. So in this particular trade, we had two targets. First one, we hit our target at about 5-6 pips, and then another 10 pips. So a total of about 15 pips altogether in less than a half an hour or so. Nice, easy move. And as you get experience, you certainly can move the size of your trades up a little bit and maximize your profits. But first, I recommend learning the system and then being able to take those trades. All right, throw any questions in the chat if you have them. And let's go ahead and take a look at, the next one. Okay, then later in the day, also on Monday, we had USA manufacturing, okay? So that is going to be an effect on the dollar, okay? My favorite dollar pair to trade is the dollar yen. That has nice movements, and we get a lot of pips per movement. Be careful to make sure you know how to calculate your Forex per pip dollar amount. If you need to, you can head to my website and see a list of the different calculators that are available online, but I believe it's forexfactory.com has a great one, forex.com. They all have good currency pip calculators. So here, let's see. So we already had a nice movement up and then back down, and then let's just take a look. Time-wise, we are at a little bit after 10 already. So that 10 o'clock candle, we're still on the 5-minute chart, shot us all the way down. Prior to the news event, there was no trade. So now this is after the news event, and we already have an outside bar. We're not going to trade on an outside bar because this may continue way further down, okay? And as you can see, I'm not even paying attention on this chart to the news event results. I do have it off to the side, and I like to know what's going to kind of give me a heads up. But if the news event in this case was negative for the dollar, driving it down, it's going to keep going down. If it was positive for the dollar, this volatility move might be a reversal, and then we're going to head straight back up. So that's what I'm looking for, whether or not I'm going to have a long trade and move back up after this reversal. Let's go ahead and see. So we had a move down. We did not close outside. We're testing it again and again. And on the 10-15 candle, while we wicked an outside bar, we didn't have a close. So let's see how this played out. So now, even though we didn't have a close outside, we did have, with the news event, a real nice drop and the wick all the way outside, okay? I don't always take them, but in this particular case, we had a nice oversold condition. We started moving out of the Williams channel, so I'm expecting that we do move up where we were close enough below the median for us to shoot for at least a movement to the next channel, the standard deviation channels, and maybe even to this outside supply zone, okay? The thing that I like the best is with this supply zone right up here, okay? Tagged up here, swung down, all the way back up. I'm actually hoping that we break this zone and hit this target up here. So that's what I'm shooting for. As soon as we hit our first target, I'm going to move to break even, and if that's all we get out of it, that's fine, but that's going to be the target that we're hoping for. Okay. And as you can see, now we're at about 10:30. Let's see. So we got our first target really fast. I'm up at break even, and let's get right back up to that zone. And now, same thing as before. We are in our parabolic movement up, okay? Starting to get up to overbought. So I guess I kind of got a little antsy that we might not hit that. And frequently I'll trade for 3 targets so that I can catch that. And we had a reversal right off of the edge. If the envelope were outside closer to the top, I probably would have held on for this zone. But I got a little nervous about it and grabbed our target right off the edge of the zone. Let's see how much further on. And sure enough, we had a reversal right at the outside edge of this zone. This envelope works beautifully. Sometimes we have the envelope corresponding to the edge of the next zone, and then I'll shoot for that. But we look at the big reversal right over here, even tradable on the way back down. Fred, the website is strategicdaytraders.com. Let me put it in here. There you go. And you can email me with any questions as well. And I'll post this at the end. There you go. Okay, let's take a look at the next trade. Okay, and now on Wednesday we had non-farm payroll. Okay, this is the ADP non-farm payroll that the U.S. financial news, the markets have been crazy about following every single news event with interest rate changes and the presidential election. So sometimes we get some substantial movement with non-farm payroll from ADP, sometimes not. But it is a big news event to trade. And importantly, it's really one of the only ones at 8:15, okay? As most of you know, most of the news events come out at 8:30, sometimes 9:45 and 10, but 8:15 is a very unusual one. So let's take a look. We are early in the morning looking for a possible run-up and reversal. So it is now right at about 7:50. And let's see what we have moving into the 8:15 event. As you can see, coming into the news, we're right in the middle, okay? And hold on, let me get my chart fixed up. There we go. Now, when we are right in the middle of, hold on. Okay. When we're right in the middle of our zones here, and I still want to follow the news, what I frequently do is I will switch from a 5-minute chart to a 1-minute chart, because on a 5-minute chart, you can see this is not tradable. I'm not going to be near the outside edges of the zone. So look at the difference between the 5-minute and the 1-minute chart. Okay, so now we've got room to breathe here on a 1-minute chart, okay? Also on the pound yen. Let's see if we can't move up to the outside edge of the zone and see if we get a reversal. I'm thinking of shorts. Why? I'm already overbought. I'm already up in the long side channel on the Williams percent R. If we can move ourselves to an outside bar here, then I'm looking for a short right back down to the edge. It might come before the news event. It might come as a result of the news event. Doesn't matter to me. I'm looking for the signal, okay? So earlier on, this is back around 7:30, we had a push up. We were almost to the outside of the channel. We did get our signal, almost to the outside of both channels, and we made it down to the midline and then came right back up. So we might test that again and come right back down. We might move down. There's still plenty of time on a 1-minute chart and then come all the way up. So let's see how it played out. Okay, there's our first signal. We're not quite to the outside. Remember, we're looking for the reversal candle to take the trade. But we're absolutely going to be on the outside edge. And we're still before 8 o'clock. Not unusual to get a little flurry of volatility at 8 a.m. exactly. That's when the New York currency trading desks open, and lots of orders that have been put in from the day before are executed automatically at 8 a.m. But now we're getting a reversal. Not quite. We're still moving further north. And that's our reversal candle. Let's jump in, fix our targets up. We're going to shoot for the midline for the first. Now there's no zones here, so I'm kind of giving myself a little bit of breathing room just on the outside of the envelope. And in this one, I think I took 3 targets, yep. And the reason I went a little bit bigger, you can see I'm trading a lot and a half here, is the value per pip of the dollar yen is a little bit smaller. Sometimes I'll trade 2 full lots on it and split them up and just spread my targets across the standard deviation channels nicely, hoping that maybe we'll get a big push down after that news event hits. We're at 8:03. Let's see whether or not we even get our first target before the news hits. And so we had our entry candle, took a little bit of heat. We want to see that reverse as well and start moving down. And we're kind of close to the midline here because, as you can see, the deviation channels, they tend to redraw a little bit as we continue to move up. So I'll just move to the next line because we're looking for a standard deviation move. I don't care that it's the middle or the third or the fourth standard deviation point. I just want to see a full channel move. And we are at 8:08, so we haven't had the news yet, but we're starting to see, particularly the banks, starting to drive this down. Okay, now we're in an overall long or upward trend. Are the banks driving this down so that they can take more profits moving up? Absolutely. We don't care. We're going to try to maximize or grab profits in both directions when we can. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if you'll see, my target down here kind of has a purpose or a reason. Oh, sorry about that. Let me move back. I do want to show that to you. Why can't I grab that? Hold on, let's try it this way. Well, what I was trying to show you was that when I got around here, my target down here is kind of keyed in with a swing low that's kind of buried behind this little calendar reminder over here. So that's why I chose that. Okay, I didn't quite go down this far because I was really below this swing low over here, and there was another one probably right over here, so it was probably a double bottom. So let's go ahead and start the replay again. And that's where we were. So we're coming down, we're in the money, and we're looking to hit our first target. We haven't even had the news yet, so let's see how it plays out. And now we're actually starting to show a turn down toward a downward trend. And that was our big move. So right at the news event, our first and second target got taken out. I'm down past break even, and now I'm already trailing. So that's one of the reasons I took this all the way down here, trying to catch real big moves. You can see big moves on the dollar yen. So at 817, I'm trailing my linear regression moving average. And let's see how much farther we get out of it. And then on the reversal, I'm out. And as you can see, it followed the envelope pattern beautifully. So with that lot and a half, that was a fast $100 with 3 targets. You could have put the entire lot and a half down towards the bottom end and then just trailed all 3 down. I just am in the habit of splitting those up to take some money off the table and move to break even, but either plan, if that's what you're accustomed to doing, then go for it. Okay, let's see. So now that was the dollar yen. Let's take a look at the same ADP non-farm payroll, but this time trading gold futures, okay? This is going to be the MGC, the gold micro, not the full-size contract, which would be, if you're stopped out, several hundred, $300, $400, $500 loss. So we don't like to take that kind of a chance. And let's see how it played out. And we are on the 5-minute chart here on the MGC. And let's see, as we get closer to 8:15, as you can see, completely different picture. So in this case, we're moving up to 7:50, 8 o'clock, and we're already all the way down. Now, as most of you know, the dollar and the gold are move inversely. So we might see this reversal come for our outside bar on the bottom and look for a long on this trade, okay? Let's see how it plays out. So we've already got our outside bar. We touch the outside edge of the channel. And we're still moving further down. Maybe we're getting our reversal candle in for a pre-news trade. And we're right at 8 o'clock. And we're still heading further down. Okay, so that's one of the most important reasons to wait for that reversal candle, okay? As you just saw, this outside bar gave us another outside bar. We kept moving further down, okay? If this closes, we're going to go ahead and get in this trade and take the long right up to that spot. And we're 5 minutes from news release. We're about almost at the new candle, so we're about to close. Easily could get in right now. And so right at this point, let's go ahead and set our 3 targets. Now remember, we are in a futures trade now, but the same principles apply whether you're using spot gold or GC, MGC futures, we're still going to see this nice parabolic move. And sometimes I prefer trading gold rather than the pair on U.S. economic news. We see really nice movement. So in this particular case, we had our nice movement. We had our close candle, came back down, but we were below the recent swing low over here. We didn't really have a zone close to this area over here, and I didn't want to put it all the way down. But now we're about to touch our first target, so I'm already ready to move to break even. And we're almost there. Come on. There we go. So now we'll leave our stop at break even and shoot for our next target inside the edge of the next channel, and then potentially further for a trailer at the next channel. Now I'm already trailing up. As you can see, the linear regression moving average is up. And in fact, that was a huge candle, big momentum candle move. So let's not leave anything on the table and bring my stop all the way up to the next standard deviation. And we might even get stopped out a little early, but that's okay. I don't mind. You can see quick reversals as well when you see these big momentum candles. Now we've got a little bit of an outside bar forming over here. Okay, we just wicked it and we formed a supply zone. So there's a pretty high likelihood that we're going to get the reversal right about here. We could break it, and then we'll go to the next target. All right, potentially. Now we've already broken our recent swing high over here. We've got another one right at this edge. And just in case we have a lot of momentum, we were all the way up here, but we had a reversal and we are out right over here. Now that's a nice move. Big difference between the two. We barely had about $100 on the dollar-yen pair, but almost $250 on the micro gold, okay? Very little risk on this trade, okay? So pick and choose what you like to trade. Practice in market replay. I do like, I don't love trading gold all the time because it can be a little finicky, but around economic news events, it's very tradable, okay? Look at this beautiful parabolic move up. All right, let's see what we have next, and just make sure time-wise. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so on Wednesday, we had Chairman Powell making some comments at 1:15. That's also an unusual time. Usually his regular press conference is at 2 p.m., but that's after a congressional Fed day. When the Fed meets and then he speaks before Congress, they will have a press conference at 2 p.m. on the Wednesday. Okay, so this was a presser right before the next meeting at an unusual time. So let's see how it played out. Could have traded gold on this or the pair. When Powell speaks, I kind of like to have something that has the dollar in it. It tends to be really responsive. Okay, so at this time we're looking at, it's about noon, an hour before his speaking. Are his comments ever leaked before he speaks? Yes, all the time. They never know who, when, or how, but it's not unusual to see big movements before his speaking, okay? So as you can see, we moved all the way down. We're on the 5-minute chart. We're at the bottom edge, and we've got a demand zone right over here. Could we have a bounce right off of here? Absolutely. We were already oversold, so potentially that's a nice entry point right there. Let's see if we get our reversal candle. Our linear regression moving average is nice and tight and close. And we had a close right over here. We're at 12:40, so we're a half an hour before he's scheduled to speak. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to follow the chart and I'm not going to wait for the news, because this push down and this reversal easily could indicate that there's buzz out there already, what his comments are going to be, that they're going to be good for the dollar, pushing this all the way back up to here. I'm only in for 2 positions for a full lot. Let's play it safe. We got in all the way down at the edge and go for the midline. It corresponds to the next standard deviation. To the outside envelope, and let's shoot for that. And as you can see, we're kind of hovering a little bit now, waiting for it to filter out. Okay, we're past his event time, and let's see how it played out. Not a lot of movement, meaning there wasn't a lot of controversy in what he came out with. But ultimately, we did see some movement for the dollar, and we hit our target, pushed quickly outside. So my custom is get that last target all the way out, start to trail, and let's see how far. Because there's nothing in between, could we hit these highs? Absolutely, okay? Going right for the edge of this most recent high would be pushing it a little bit. So I'm always going to shoot for an average in between of that zone. We started to try to push, but the mechanics of the parabolic charts really are the ones to follow, okay? Even though we were shooting for this zone outside here, we already had an outside bar. The odds that we were going to get all the way up here and not get the reversal on the outside bar are much greater, okay? It was a possibility, and so pushing the stop up is an easy way to do that, okay? Just in case. So we got stopped out right over here and didn't hit that target, okay? Still a nice trade, almost about $100 or so for a fast trade. And again, once you start learning how to manage these, the beauty of using Forex is you can change your position size and customize that very, very easily, regardless of what platforms you're on. All right, so those were a bunch of the scheduled trades that we took, okay? Let me do a quick review of what I've got open from just my scanning of the charts early this morning. Hold on. Let's take a look. Okay, so as you can see, first trade, and I'm going to start posting these outside bar signals as well, okay? This Euro Swiss franc, this morning at 10:15, I had a reversal bar right here. We had a signal, then another signal. It was just a wick, so the triangle disappeared. Closed right over here and got in with the spread right at this point. And as you can see, nice move down, okay? Second one, let's see, the yen. So the euro yen. This one is kind of a little bit sideways. We had a movement where we entered right over here at this candle at about 10:30. We made it to the midpoint. I'm going to let this one continue to play out on my MetaTraders and see whether or not we can make it down to the next level or even the edge by the end of the day. Okay, we would have to cycle through and make sure, but we're still in the money here. And then on the euro, let's see, euro kiwi, same thing, a little sideways. At this time of the day, the yens and the New Zealand and the Australian can sometimes move a little sideways. So that's where we're at on that. And the last is the pound yen. Where is that? Okay, and that was a nice move. We were close to the envelope and got a good fill right up here with a tight spread and had a nice move down. Easily moved 2 channels down to the midline. And at this point, I would have a really tight stop to see if we can move a little bit further down, okay? So again, here are our nice parabolic moves from the AM sessions today. Now, what do we have coming up? Hold on. There we go. So just as a reminder, we're starting to move into 3 distinct kind of signals. I'm still going to be posting my evening Eastern time in the U.S. Currency strength for the Asian and London sessions. Those go in my private Telegram channel. And then we're going to also post in the same private Telegram channel these signals that we've been talking about, okay? Reminders of the news events, a snapshot of the 5-minute chart, what we're looking at, the trades that look like they are going to be good to jump in on. You'll be able to place your stops and targets based on your own spreads, your own brokers, but it's always going to be based on the same kind of parabolic price movement strategy that I follow, as well as those, a heads up. There's an outside bar coming on the euro dollar or the Swiss Canadian or something like that. So we'll give you a heads up on those throughout the trading day. Usually, most commonly, between 7:30 and 8 till about 9:30, 10, sometimes even 10:30 to take advantage of the New York session. And I'll be adding more tutorials on the website, taking those trades with screenshots in order to capitalize on all of that movement so that you all get comfortable with this nice, simple concept Forex trading strategy. I know that many are following channels and technical analysts that are drawing channels and are looking for movement and starting with higher time frames, month to day to year. I like to scalp. I like to stick to what works for me, and that is take advantage of these nice parabolic moves, and it simplifies my charting tremendously. So that is about it for today. We'll do more trades over tomorrow and Monday, and I'll show you those on Tuesday. We're going to have a webinar next week on Thursday with some special offers. Thanks to the guys at FinancialJuice for sponsoring these live trading sessions. They're great. If you haven't gotten a free account on FinancialJuice yet, please do that. We hope to have some giveaways for their pro account as well for everybody that comes to the webinar next week. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me directly, okay, at jeffrey@strategicdaytraders.com. Take a look around. If you like what you see, you can click on join and see the details about becoming a private Telegram group channel member where you get all of these trades and reminders, as well as extra tips and strategies on how I trade. And that is a wrap for now. Good trading, everybody, and we will see you in the next one.